I'm Brendan O'Rourke. I have the pleasure of working with John in Dublin Institute of Technology in the College of Business there. I'm not directly involved in the study of lobbying like John is, but I think I have some interesting things to say about corruption more generally. But before I do that, I really want to praise all of you who come together to form this. Jason, you've talked of being very tired. I can't do as much as you've done to engage in this kind of activity, even when I'm feeling very fresh in the morning. So, given that I know a lot of people who've been involved in this campaign, have been involved in other interesting campaigns in Ireland recently, I would like to really praise ye. It's wonderful for an old fecker like me to see this enthusiasm coming from the youth. It really is uplifting. It might even give me some energy one of these days, if not as much as Jason. The second thing I'd like to do is, Transparency International has been fantastic, and it's great to see them welcoming a sister organisation, if you like, into the field and encouraging and showing up. So I think that is fantastic. I'm an academic, so I have to talk about my research to some extent and how it connects with corruption. As I say, I'm not as aligned with the study of corruption per se as closely as John Hogan's work on lobbying is. But what does strike me is the insidious nature of corruption, and it is great to hear about the Irish lobbying regulation and how strong that regulation is. But I grew up in a political culture that was very different in terms of a state that had been was reasonably free of corruption, at a mega level anyway, until the rise of Charles Haughey. And those were very dark days, and I think it's a good thing that the Irish experience is being contributed to the overall experience and the international experience of the States, because we were very, very close to becoming an extremely corrupt area during that period. And I think our knowledge and experience of that and climbing out of it to the degree that we have, and I accept there are still problems, but I think our 17th place on the scale is a testament to that work. It shows how you can nearly be very corrupt. It's a close thing. And this really emphasises the chapter that you're setting up in Ireland, the importance of keeping at this. It slips back very easily. People and your actions make a difference. So I think that's one thing I'd like to say. The other thing I'd like to say is I'm wary of corruption sometimes, and I think, or talk about anti-corruption, because there are certain models, I don't think they're in this room, but there are certain models of corruption that really focus on pedantic regulation keeping. And for instance, I think we need to remember that some of the regulations in Ireland are getting worse on that front. There has been attempts to get people in the health service, and indeed in universities and so on, to toe the line in a way that might be justified if you looked at public services as commercial enterprises, where increasingly public servants are portrayed as people who should do exactly what the bosses tell them to do, regardless of their obligation to act in the public interest. And I think that's an important, we're in danger sometimes of regulating out of existence the resistance to corruption itself. And you saw this in the financial crisis. You saw how even, and I'm not great fans of the Department of Finance, but even the Department of Finance was put under extraordinary pressure to shut up about dangers it saw in the economy. Okay? It was undermined, in my view, by a series of governments that, if you take Charlie McCreevy's dealing with, for instance, what he called the is decentralisation. He has admitted publicly, when he was Commissioner in Europe, he has admitted publicly how he went behind public servants' backs because he didn't want any opposition to them. That, to me, is as important as, if you like, more straightforward and obvious corruption, because it's undermining the independent action that public servants need to have. And I think there's a great danger in that, and it's a kind of second wave. Once we've got beyond the Haughey era, once we've got beyond that very gross corruption, we've now got to, I think the next stage for somewhere like Ireland, and maybe colleagues from more advanced areas in the area of anti-corruption like the Nordic countries can comment. But what we need is active public servants and others in different organisations to be able to whistleblow, to be able to critique, not to be afraid to argue against prevailing opinion. Contacts with Anti-Corruption International, and it's the kind of thing, I know already we've posted the existence of Anti-Corruption International on our students' pages and stuff, and I know it's not just Jason's charisma, but it's a genuine interest by even business students in, and I'm teasing, business students are generally quite ethical at the beginning anyway, until they're corrupted. But, I think there's a genuine hunger to explore this, to deepen this, to enable people to, raise up their voices and be critical, which is desperately needed to stop corruption flourishing. So thanks very much and good luck.